Bringing in our panel tonight, former Democratic New York State Senator David Carlucci and Katie Frost, Republican strategist, former executive director of the Georgia Freedom Caucus. It's good to have you both here, and we're continuing to monitor this live feed here. Katie, why don't we start with you? Protesters outside the center in New Jersey over the alleged inhumane conditions inside. Are they getting their message across? Is this the right message?
Well, here's what I would say to anyone who's protesting there. The very important part of the report that Mills just gave was that people who had protested in other states have been found to be among these protesters in New Jersey. So you have to ask, is this about actually making a difference and changing policy, or is this just about being disruptive and causing a problem? And I would say we've seen this pattern you're talking about. People, even in blue states, they have riots, they have protests, and then local law enforcement comes in and says, guys, you're not helping. You're making our community less safe. You're not going to get a change of what you want to see. You need to go and move somewhere else. And then they move on and they find another place to be antagonistic. And now they've landed on Newark. So are they going to make a difference to the policy changes? I don't believe they will. And all they want to do, it seems, is to have chaos, not create change.
I mean, David, what is your perspective on the unrest that we saw at this New Jersey facility?
Yeah, look, I agree with Katie that this could be a problem when you have just people that are looking to antagonize. But it goes a lot deeper than that. And there's no way that anyone should support any type of violence against anyone, let alone law enforcement. But here's the problem. We have the Department of Homeland Security just pouring gasoline on the fire. You hear the governor of New Jersey very concerned about the humanitarian conditions in these detention facilities, particularly this one. And so the Department of Homeland Security could quell these tensions immediately by letting the governor, letting elected officials, the health department into the detention center. And this is what Democrats have been asking for. They've been asking to de-escalate these situations by demasking officers, not having these roaming armies of officers, because it starts to be that we are living in a country where we're going to have to carry proof of citizenship around everywhere we go. And that's not appropriate. And that's not needed. What we need to do is fix our immigration problem, and that is not happening at the federal level. It's certainly not coming from the White House. All they're doing is using intimidation, and that's backfiring.
Katie, let's move to another major topic. We know President Trump is continuing to mull over this extension of the ceasefire with the Iran war, reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the U.S. military today fired a missile at a cargo ship trying to break the blockade. How urgent is it for the president to find a resolution and to end this war?
Well, it's important to find a resolution, but it has to be the right one. You can't just accept any deal that is on the table. And we also know that the Iranians are not exactly the most reliable people when it comes to these negotiations. There have to be very strong reassurances from them that they're going to keep their word this time. I frankly would be very cautious that they will do that. But we do want to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. That, of course, is the number one priority. But when you're dealing with someone like Iran, President Ronald Reagan famously said, trust but verify. I would just say verify and verify again. There's very little trust there.
David, this week, the Treasury Secretary said that the economic disruptions caused by the war with Iran will fade rapidly once peace is at hand. He all but downplayed the fallout as very short term in terms of time span. What is your sense of the American appetite for this conflict and the pinch that Americans feel as we do inch towards the midterms?
Well, look, the White House has been saying this from the beginning, that, it's going to end anytime. It'll be ended tomorrow, the day after. And we're just not seeing that. We don't know where we are. And we keep hearing just conflicting information coming from the White House in terms of what they've done, what the mission is, what will be mission accomplished. Is it to reopen the Strait of Hormuz when that was opened, and it always has been, until the United States invaded Iran? And so it's hard to believe what the Treasury Secretary is talking about. Yes, I would imagine that our economic conditions will be better when peace is finally in the region and we have a deal. But we are so far from that. And I think the American appetite is evident in the polling that we see. Donald Trump has continued to decline in terms of his favorabilities. And this debacle that he has created has only exacerbated that. We don't have to tell anybody that's filling up their tank with gas, is paying the price. They see this. So even if they're not following the news as intently as we are, they are feeling the aftermath, and they're expressing that in the polling, and they're expressing that in special elections and in primaries. Anytime they have an opportunity to send a message to Donald Trump, they're doing that by supporting Democrats.
David Carlucci, Katie Frost, appreciate you both. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.
Right